New on Curiosity Stream.
From time to time, we have collisions between asteroids and the Earth.
We track them, we study them, we hope the big one never comes. Don't look up, it's Asteroid Rush. And alligators. They rarely get sick. They even outlasted the dinosaurs. Could they hold the secret to human longevity?
Their blood could have antibacterial applications.
Wade into the investigation on immortal alligators. Watch now on Curiosity Stream. Annual plans are $20, just $1.67 a month. Visit curiositystream.com.
What's up? It's your boy, the Ted Smith. Thanks for listening to the Men's Room Daily Podcast. Want more? Check out the greatest podcast in all the land, The Podcast. Be sure to subscribe and listen to a brand new episode every Tuesday night.
All right, we made it to drinking time.
Somebody out there deserves to be recognized. And the Men's Room knows just who it is. So to you, we say, bottoms up, sailor. You're the toast of our shot of the day.
Drink time it is, and as usual, we head to the drink desk and Steve Throwhill to find out who we're toasting.
Yes, indeed. Today we toast an unidentified man from Buenos Aires, Argentina. He was riding a passenger train, and like many people, he fell asleep. Now, he managed to sprawl across two seats with his head sticking out into the aisle. Now, eventually, he did wake up, and that's when the panic set in. Because somehow, and we cannot figure it out, his head had slid under the metal armrest. And despite twisting and turning, he was unable, consciously, to squeeze his head back out. So, dude wakes up at the stop he's supposed to get. It's like a subway, basically. This is like morning rush hour. He realizes his head is under the metal armor. He can't get out. So some people on the train tried to help him. A lot of others laughed. One guy managed to videotape the whole thing and post it to Twitter. So now keep in mind, this is a rush hour train. The train ends up getting delayed, meaning everyone's going to be late for work, so that authorities can be called to help him finally get his goddamn head out of the metal armrest. Congratulations, international superstar. So we pour this booze and we drink this booze because we think it's yummy.
Yummy!
So over the tongue and down the throat to party in our tummies. Down the hola, bichola!
The Men's Room presents Profile This.
Hey, Steve Throwhill, could you please tell everyone how Profile This is played?
I sure can, Miles. It's a simple game where we share with you a real-life news story, something that happened right here on planet Earth. Earth. And as you listen to the story, based on the stereotypes you believe to be true of people and the decisions that people make, we'll ask you what it is you think makes the story a story. Hello, Patrick. Welcome to the Men's Room.
Boom, bitches!
Boo! All right, Patrick, you understand how this here game is played?
I do.
Fantastic. You have your choice of one of three stories. We have the wonderful world of drugs. We have Bite Me. In other words, what did someone find in their food? And finally, interior decorating, where you guess the foreign object that ended up on the inside of someone.
Oh, we got to go inside.
And there it is. Interior decorating. All right, here's your story. Medical professionals, they say they're well-versed at removing large objects from people's rectums because God hates them. But as the dozens of published case reports and thousands more anecdotes will attest, humans love testing the limits of what will actually fit into that.
So you're
part
saying
of the
this
body.
is a big one?
This is a big one. But now a team of doctors at the Grand Hospital in Milan, they've added a new tool, literally a new tool to the arsenal after a particularly challenging instance forced them to innovate. Basically, a doctor and his colleagues, they detailed the treatment of a 31-year-old man who showed up at the emergency room with a long, large object stuck in his butt. Now, during the initial examination, the man explained that the object was not removable by hand and had been stuck there for 24 hours. Yet, other than some mild abdominal pain, he said he's feeling fine, like his stomach hurts, but please get this thing out of my butt. Well, an x-ray revealed the sheer magnitude of the problem. That's when he had to go and get a surgery. But all these attempts initially failed due to the, quote, rigidity, the smoothness, and the size of the object. So, hoping to avoid the last resort of a highly invasive surgery, they built a homemade device out of medical wire pushed through a stent tube. Basically, they had to go MacGyver to get this thing out of his butt. The question is, what is it that they had to retrieve from his backside that was so large and stuck inside? Was it a bowling pin, a rolling pin, a toilet brush, or an old-fashioned dildo? So bowling pin, rolling pin, toilet brush, or dildo?
Oh, man.
I mean, he was swinging for the fences, bro.
Oh. What do you think, Ted?
Where'd you say it was?
In Milan, Italy.
Oh, Italy? That's a rolling pin.
That's amore.
I mean, that's pretty simple.
When the moon hits your eye.
Right? Oh, it's a roll on the dough. The pin will go away.
It's amore.
It's focaccia.
Patrick, what are you thinking?
Oh, we're going rolling pin.
You're going to go with Ted.
Yeah.
Let me think here. You know what? I'm going to go bowling pin.
Bowling pin?
Rolling pin.
Do they even bowl in Italy?
They do now. They do now, Ted. Yeah, it's a duck pen. All right, we're going to find out.
Obviously, they don't bowl if Miles is right.
I don't know. I don't think they do, but I'm trying to think of if you can't grab a hold of something, that seems like the one object that would be kind of strange to find a place. All right, we're going to find out what they removed. Was it a bowling pin, a rolling pin, a toilet brush, or a dildo next?
That was a tease.
99.9 KISW. We return to the men's room with Miles and Thrill.
All right, categories: interior decorating on profile. This team of doctors in Italy actually invented a tool to remove something that was stuck in a guy's backside. They needed the tool to figure out how to get it out. Part catheter, part, I don't know, MacGyver. Either way, it had been stuck there for 24 hours. Question is, what were they trying to remove? A bowling pin, a rolling pin, a toilet brush, or a dildo?
Now, Miles, you went with the bowling pin. I'm going to tell you right now, according to the text line, everyone is desperately hoping that is the case.
I know, I just don't think they bowl in Italy.
I'm sure they bowl. Might not be a big pastime, but either way, he didn't need it for bowling. But, unfortunately, it was not a bowling pin. Now, Patrick, you agree with D. Ted Smith to win rolling pin.
Yeah.
No, get out of here. I figured that was a guarantee.
Your focaccia is safe. It was not the rolling pin. Believe it or not, it was just a giant dildo.
Oh.
A big ass, I think they said it was 28 inches long and then however wide it was.
Right.
But he put the entire thing up
That's
there.
old school. Just a dildo.
Oh, got that old school dildo up there. Yeah, okay.
Now for all TV news all time for TV Time and Tea.
And now, because your pathetic life is confined to countless hours in front of a talking box, the Men's Room presents TV Time with Ted.
It's also 101.
Yep, I got it.
All right. Let's see. Tonight you're going to have the Jimmies.
Fallon Kibble.
James Corden.
All right.
Seth Meyers. Or Ted Smith.
Is it Ted or is it late night?
It is right there in the title. These guys have teams of talented writers help them come up with the monologues each and every night. It is up to you to determine, is this an actual late night joke and from whom? Or could it be a The Ted Smith original?
If Elon Musk backs out of the Twitter deal, he'll have to pay a $1 billion cancellation fee. It's pretty much the same deal as leaving Planet Fitness.
Fallon.
That's Fallon.
If Elon Musk backs out of the Twitter deal, he'll have to pay a $1 billion termination fee. Yeah, $1 billion termination fee. It's pretty much the same deal as leaving Planet Fitness.
After it was announced that Elon Musk purchased Twitter this week, Tesla's stock fell by 11%. Well, he wouldn't be the first person to get distracted at his job by Twitter.
Ted Smith.
D. Ted Smith.
Seth Meyers.
After it was announced that Elon Musk purchased Twitter this week, Tesla stock fell by 11%. Well, he wouldn't be the first person to get distracted from his job by Twitter.
There's an interesting police case in Alabama where a worker at an Arby's is suspected of throwing hot grease on a customer. But it turns out it was just cheddar for the beef and cheddar.
D. Ted Smith. Ted?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is some good cheddar, though.
It is. But I imagine that's...
I like hot nacho cheese on my meat. That's why people love a cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Basically the same thing.
At a Cinecon, not a Cinnabon. It's a cinematic con there.
Ah, okay. Cinecon. I got you.
At a Cinecon in Las Vegas, 13 years after the original Avatar came out, viewers were treated to a first look at James Cameron's sequel, Avatar, The Way of the Water. 13 years is a long time, and now the characters are so old that they have the way of the water 3 times a night.
Kimmel.
Fallon.
At a CinemaCon in Las Vegas, 13 years after the original Avatar hit theaters, viewers were treated to a first look at James Cameron's sequel, Avatar, The Way of Water. Yeah, 13 years. That's a long time. Now the characters are so old, they have The Way of Water 3 times a night.
Singer Harry Styles will be on the cover of the magazine Better Home and Garden. And this is cool. Martha Stewart's going to be on the cover of Tiger Beat.
Wow. Jesus, yeah.
That's Seth.
Singer Harry Styles will be on the June cover of the magazine Better Homes and Gardens. And this is cool. Martha Stewart is on Tiger Beat.
Tiger Beat was a magazine that had
A long time ago.
heartthrobs on it.
70s, 80s.
Yeah, it was like a big deal. First of all, huge shout out to the Seattle Sounders last night.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they went down to Mexico to play Pumas in the first leg of the CONCACAF Champions League. I know a lot of people have questions. My buddy called me and asked me, so if they win this, they will be the first MLS team to win the CONCACAF Champions League.
Correct.
So then they would be entered into the FIFA Club World Cup. So basically, like, you might have seen the Sounders, right? They'll have international friendlies,
right,
with like a Barcelona or a Chelsea or this, or, a Liverpool and not Arsenal yet. But the cool thing is, if they win this, number one, they'll be the first MLS team to ever win this cup,
which is huge.
And then number two is, you go to that FIFA Club World Cup, like you're playing those big boys,
right?
You know what I mean?
So was the tie?
The tie works out better for
the tie's
the
a win, right, on the road. In a weird
I mean,
way?
basically. Yeah, and they don't do, like, away goals aren't counted anymore. Just, look, basically, they're coming home to play Pumas this Wednesday coming up, and it's going to be a one-game final.
Is it an even thing?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So, basically, whoever wins.
Correct.
Yeah, who wins, wins. That's
right,
it.
Gotcha. It's not like, right, in the old days, right, if
There's
you
no
scored
aggregate or whatever.
right, they would have technically, like, more points because they had 2 away goals, but now it's just like, hey,
all right,
it's pretty simple. Cut and dry. And generally, most cups, like, UEFA Champions League, the cup final is just one game.
Mm-hmm. And, like anything else, you think just if it's cold in Buffalo, you give the Bills the advantage over Miami, right?
Correct.
So in this one, it starts raining in Mexico City. I know you said you saw a thunder shower, too.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I'm like, oh, we got this. And
I mean, it was raining pretty good most of that match.
Dumping, man.
Yeah. And it also had dropped like 17 or 20 degrees. Like it was very Seattle weather.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say quick shout out to all my ECS friends that traveled. And also, enough of the pictures. Food looks amazing. Swear to God. Like half my Facebook feed is people in Mexico City or people in Vegas for the dang NFL draft.
All right.
I had a friend just send me a picture of him.
You have friends with jobs.
All right.
So the ECS people, to their credit, they all have jobs, but they just, you save up time to take those trips. My buddy at the draft, I'm not sure what his company does, but yeah, he went.
Yeah. He does well.
He does. But no, that's super cool. And like the idea of actually playing one of those monstrous Asian or African or European clubs that matters. You know what I mean? I mean, look, we're the MLS, we're the CONCACAF champions, so who knows what'll happen. When you look at the Club World Cups, it's almost always the European champion.
Of course.
Names you recognize.
Right, but it's just awesome. Like, if they win this, they can actually go over there and actually play those teams for something that matters.
That is huge, man.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing with the Sounders. Like, they always say it. And MLS, obviously, is not NFL,
we understand.
NBA, baseball, hockey. But it's getting better, and like the Sounders have a standard, which is to win cups.
But also, how about the fact that that's a sport where you have the opportunity to earn that and be able to have that opportunity?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Right. I mean, that's the other thing, too. It helps when it's the most popular sport in the world because everybody's playing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I guess you could do it with, like, basketball. There's basketball leagues all over.
Basketball is probably the next sport.
But if you had a World Cup of football, it's like, well, the United States is going to kick the crap out of everybody.
Right. But it's like, if you win a Grey Cup, it's like, you get to play in a preseason game against the Raiders.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
We'll split the rules. They don't do that. And that's what I mean. Like, it's cool that they earn that. They can earn that.
I kind of like this idea now. You win the Grey Cup, you get to play the worst team in the NFL.
Or the best team in college football.
Well, I say you play the worst team in the NFL. And if the Canadian team beats them,
they're in. Boom.
You promote it to the NFL.
Relegate them. Sorry, Lions, you're going to the CFL, man.
And we're bringing in the Tigers.
Oh, I'll tell you what, Jacksonville, that'd be some good travel. Up to Edmonton. Hey, can you imagine being in Jacksonville? Like, we got to play in Vancouver, BC this week.
That's what they do with fantasy football. Just not a tattoo.
I've always said American baseball is best set up for regulation.
I agree, man.
Right? Like, the top teams from AAA could bump up. And
So, in other words, the Orioles are gone.
The Orioles are gone. The Mariners had a few years where maybe Tacoma's up.
But I think they should, because it's like, look, one thing with baseball, no one goes to the games, and I say as a generalization, right? So clearly the owners, it's just whatever money they make, not all the owners are necessarily trying to compete, and it's frustrating if you're a fan of a team in baseball who's not trying to compete, they're trying to make the money. But if you said, okay, I mean, look, do what you want, you own the team, it's a free country, but your Orioles, they got bumped down. If you're never going to compete, then get the hell out of the league.
That's one of the cool things about European soccer. I don't think people understand. It's like, it sucks if you're a big team and you get relegated. But also, it's just cool. It's like sometimes it's a smaller club that gets up there and like, you got to go play in their stadium.
I was going to say, isn't Pumas a club?
Pumas is a club in Mexico City.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Even a club team has this opportunity. Are they in a league, or are they like one of those teams? That you, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
This
like
is not me and Ted saying, hey, my friends
and this is the Open Cup.
Backyard.
The Open Cup and like FA Cup are completely different things. Okay. That's where it's open competition, where you could put together a semi-pro team and go play them.
All right.
But yeah, I love the idea of watching the Red Sox and the Yankees play down in the Rainier Stadium.
Right.
I'm just like, that would be so cool.
It would be, man.
Let's see. Everybody loves Howie Mandel.
Sure.
Did you guys ever watch Bobby's World?
I was a little too old for it, but I'm aware of it, yeah.
All right, yeah, that was a big... I want to say that cartoon came on after, like, I got home from school. Mm-hmm. So we used to watch it all the time. And Howie Mandel, like...
He's fine. Like, there's nothing to love or hate about him. He's just that
germaphobe, neurotic guy.
He is. Right, so he got COVID earlier this month. He says he's vaxxed and boosted, so his symptoms were mild. Basically, his physical symptoms were fine. But he had to quarantine for 10 days, and he says it was torture. Told TMZ, I went insane. I still feel like I'm recovering from that, the insanity. And I'm not joking. I got incredibly depressed, incredibly neurotic.
He's already neurotic.
He needs to take a Jeff Goldblum class and just chill.
The Jeff Goldblum class of chilling.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, he goes, I can't. He goes, like, basically he had to work on distracting himself. You can't distract yourself for 10 days alone in a room. And I'm like, I don't know. I think you pull it off.
Yeah, you can.
There's a lot, right? There's a lot of stuff. Plus, also, like,
I just think he probably can't sit still.
Yeah, he's that guy.
One of those.
I think
also, he's Howie Mandel. Like, no offense.
Your house is probably different than most of ours.
You can go swimming.
Your pool
or
table.
Hot tubbing.
Right. You can go to. He probably has a workout room in there. Like, you could do a lot of stuff. I'd have to imagine at Howie Mandel's house.
Yes.
Yeah. It's like, just quarantining in one room. And honestly, you're Howie Mandel. I don't know if he lives with if he has a family, this or that, but if they're like, you got to stay in the room, I'd be like, well, I'm a big celebrity, so here's a few grand. Go to the hotel.
You guys leave.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, send them out.
Take advantage of my house.
Yeah. And this
rubber-walled room I created.
I know rubber-walled rooms are for insane people, but I'd like to go in one and just run around.
Yeah, it's for your safety, so.
Yeah, just bounce off the walls and stuff. I don't know if I'd put on the straight jacket.
Hey, man.
Straight jacket or straight jacket?
Straight.
All right.
A straight jacket.
Yeah. That's for
They put it on you and just send you out into the streets.
Look at that, dude.
Let's see this. Olivia Wilde. She was presenting her new movie, Don't Worry, Darling.
Ironically.
It is kind of ironic. She was at the same CinemaCon. Somebody in the front row approached the stage, slid a manila envelope marked personal and confidential to her. Olivia is on stage, right? She's presenting the film.
She is speaking publicly. Yeah.
Yeah. This is for me. Then picked it up and looked inside. She barely reacted, just said thank you, and continued with her presentation. So it turns out it was custody papers from her ex, Jason Sudeikis, regarding their 2 kids. She got served on stage in front of everybody.
Mm-hmm. But she played it cool. I mean, to her credit.
She did. And so a source told TMZ, basically, Jason says he has no idea. You give that stuff to a company.
You're paying a lot of money.
They take care of it to go serve.
Right. He has nothing to do with their timing.
When you have to do that in person. So
Correct.
you say, could I have 5 minutes of someone's time if you're at the gate at their house? They're not here. There's no office to go to because they're on the set.
You can't just leave them.
You can't get into the set of a movie. Like, you have to get them when you can get them. So that obviously is something that has to be. I know it's terrible. I don't think that he wanted it to happen that way. But I think that publicly is probably one of the few ways that you can serve someone in person.
I do find it kind of amazing that, like, if the guy didn't have a ticket and stuff, like, how did he get to the front row of this? And, like,
I know, that's the amazing part.
Get that close.
Well, they said they're going to check security. But again, to serve someone, you have to be able to figure out a way to get in there because you don't have access to physically give them this stuff.
Yeah.
When it comes to your kids, eventually, if it's not copacetic, you've got to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah, and it's
I know
just
it sounds weird, but
right. And I want to say when they broke up, didn't it come out that like she had already been dating somebody or something?
So I don't pay too much attention to their personal lives things, so I don't know. But I just think it's crazy. To her credit, because that's a high stress moment when you see it, right? Yeah. But she did the public thing, looks inside, realizes what it is, but doesn't bat an eye.
I mean, like any assignment, you have to hand this personally to Aaron Rodgers or Dwayne The Rock Johnson or whatever the thing is.
I would not do that.
Even if it's a certificate for like, free Arby's for a year. Like your job is to do this.
Serving people papers is a dangerous job.
I know. It's
because a lot of times
you're
talking
being a repo man.
Well, a lot of times, right? You're talking about divorces and custody stuff.
It's not good. Whatever
right,
you're
people
delivering.
aren't going to react in a good way.
Correct.
Let's see. Well, you got the NFL draft on tonight. Seahawks fans, you got a first-round pick.
For now.
Mike, do you think they traded away?
I have a dollar bet that says they do.
And I'm going to collect that. I'm going to collect that dollar.
Thank you, Tim. We appreciate it. You are listening to the Men's Room.
The Men's Room returns with Miles and Thrill. Now, let's see what's happening in the real world.
All right, here we go. Florida woman loses $1 million when it turns out that her online boyfriend was really a fake. Meanwhile, a police training exercise ends with a role player shot in the stomach, which is an obvious mistake. To Pennsylvania, where 40,000 pounds of chicken nugget spills from a crash truck. Bali to deport man who danced on a sacred mountain naked as a buck. And a 70-year-old man is attacked by a squirrel that was, quote, eating his hand. It is time for your headlines.
Now, it's time to hit the headlines. Here's Mike Hawk.
All right, our top story, we go to Bali, where a man from Canada is facing deportation. Complaints came flooding in about the actor after he posted a video of himself doing the haka, a traditional dance from New Zealand, while on top of a sacred mountain in the area.
Don't do that.
And he was completely naked.
Definitely don't do that.
He went viral online and was confronted by authorities who are now attempting to have him deported. Why nude? Okay, first off, you're from Canada, so already doing the haka is kind of a... You better be doing it right or have some sort of cultural heritage there. You're doing it on a sacred mountain, which I hope you didn't know that it was a sacred mountain.
You ever talk to this guy at a concert?
No.
You leave. You walk away.
Oh, man. The one time I was in New Zealand, man, I learned that.
I'm out, brother.
Right.
Good talking to you. Oh, yeah.
And then naked.
Nice meeting
Why
you,
were
bro.
you naked?
He probably figured, I'm already going to offend people. Let's swing for the fences.
Keep it chill, bro.
Let's just go for it, man. Let's just
Miles
go
is
for
right.
it.
It's that guy.
It is that guy. You know exactly who it is. You can see him. You know him. He slept on your couch.
He's the guy that would dance the haka naked on a sacred mountain in Bali. In other news, to Florida, where a poor woman has been duped.
I'll tell you what. Bali is like a magnet for white people.
Is it really?
Oh, they love it. Going to Bali. Bali this, Bali that.
So exotic.
Yeah.
Yes. To Florida, where a poor woman has been duped. She unfortunately lost her husband several years ago, and after her grieving period, decided to get back into the dating game. She went to Tinder, where she found a man that took her breath away, and she was convinced that she was in love with the man. And you know it's true because she showed her devotion by sending him upwards of $1 million during their time talking with each other.
Why can't I find a woman like that?
For real, man.
Jesse's girl.
So you can imagine her crushing disappointment when it turned out that her next love was not who he said he was and was indeed a crew of scammers.
The hardest part for me is her crushing disappointment.
Right.
Because surely she's not that stupid. But
Girl,
apparently she is.
You sent these guys $1 million.
My goodness.
Who do you know that you're dating that you can actually say, this is a very good relationship? I send him money all the time.
And I haven't met you.
Her husband, who's deceased, is losing his mind.
Just rolling.
They saved up all that money.
I mean, that's the craziest part. They had $1 million to spend.
So she could be okay. And she does this.
Yes. She has since become a poster child for people like her to come forward. So hopefully that doesn't happen beyond that.
God. Don't send people money that you don't know. How about that?
Yeah.
Just as a general rule.
People who loan money to people they never met.
Yeah.
All right.
While we're on the subject, we go to North Carolina where a man had an interest in a car. He was scanning for some cars for sale online when he came across the car of his dreams, a 1969 Plymouth Roadrunner. Beautiful automobile.
Beep, beep.
He got into contact with the seller and worked out a deal, and he was ready to make the purchase and held up his end of the deal by sending the seller $23,400 with the expectation that he would receive the car within a couple days. You know how the story goes. Unfortunately, after a few days had passed, he hadn't heard from the seller. A short investigation found that the email and bank account that were used by the seller were shut down, and he had disappeared. Man,
maybe he should date the chick that spent $1 million.
What are we learning today?
Right. Man, sight unseen is not something that you should do when you're spending that kind of dough.
No.
Let's just not. To Michigan, where a police training exercise got a little too real. Officers were conducting a vehicle takedown exercise complete with a couple civilians that were put in as role players in the scenario. I believe at least one of them knew one of the officers that was taking part in the exercise. Things were going according to plan up until it was discovered after the fact that a live weapon was mistakenly brought onto the field. The officer carrying the weapon, unfortunately, fired it at one of the civilians, striking him in the stomach, and he was taken to the hospital. The man was treated at the hospital and is listed in stable condition. That is it for your headlines. With that, Mike Hawk is out.
Men's Room Happy Hour up next exclusively on the Odyssey Apple. The Odyssey app will see you for Dirty Big Dummy next.
Yes, indeed. In the meantime, we be all about this bitch for about 130 seconds or so. Until then, please do what you do best, and for Alita's sake, stay beautiful.
The Men's Room has been taped before a live studio audience. Wardrobe and makeup provided by Mantastic Limited. This has been a presentation of the Men's Room Radio Network. Oh, man! A Double Flush production.